Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. No, you ain't nobody in no rush to get concussed. Get it out here unless it's a Rocky movie. And I was at Rocky 2 when they filmed it in LA. I was at when the boxing and they missed by this much. You know, like way over here. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't in a rush to get concussed. You ain't walking up nobody to get hit, right? There you go. So let's talk heavyweights since we're talking concussion. Now, we know that Anthony Joshua, heavyweight champion, got all the belts except the WBC, right? And Anthony Joshua, bad boy, big Adonis of a man, you know, knocks out most of his opponents or gets knocked out himself, gets hurt. But hey, it's action when Anthony Joshua shows up most of the time. Okay, what he had to do with Andy Ruiz Jr., and he got some flack because he boxed Andy Ruiz Jr. That's how people will react, right? Because it would be fair. Some other people who box, you know, they get called runners. Anthony Joshua ran against Andy Ruiz Jr., but for me, I'm consistent. It ain't running. That ring ain't big enough to run. If you can outbox somebody and they can't move, that is a deficit. If they can't move, that's a part of boxing. You're supposed to get them. So Anthony Joshua did what he had to do to beat Andy Ruiz Jr., and damn it, he did it real well. Period. Right? But that goes for everyone else who outboxes people. That's the only thing. Some people be like, well, my dude look like outboxing. Everybody else is runners. Can't go like that. Joshua beat the hell out of Andy Ruiz Jr. in the second fight. Andy Ruiz Jr. came in fat. Period. That's what happened. But we do know when we're talking about Anthony Joshua, when it comes to negotiations, he's a hard guy to negotiate. Anthony Joshua, when it comes to him and Eddie Hearn, they are extremely arrogant. Remember offering a flat fee, $12.5 million to Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder offers them 50. Didn't want to do it. Now they want. Then they said 15 million flat fee for Deontay Wilder to come to England. And then he said yeah. And then damn, the dude said yeah to that after 50 million. Okay, then Povetkin, hurry up, WBA. That's exactly how that happened, right? But it was always negotiation problems. Dillian White had negotiation problems. You know, everybody deal with Anthony Joshua because he won all of it. Now, lately, and I left this alone because I was like, please don't do this. Please don't do this. But Eddie Hearn had said about a week ago, and it really kind of, my antenna went way up, and I left it alone. I was like, please don't do this. Right? You know, Eddie Hearn was saying, well, since Anthony Joshua has been forced to fight his mandatory, the WBO mandatory, and Oleksandr Usyk, right? He was like, well, what ain't going to happen? It ain't going to go to purse bid. We don't want it to go to purse bid. And I was like, damn, well, you know, purse bid, that's 80% for Joshua, 20% for Oleksandr Usyk. You probably would want to go to purse bid, you know, so Usyk 20%, you know, that's not that much. So purse bid, why wouldn't you want to go to purse bid? And I was hoping it wasn't what I think it is going to be. Like 20% is too much for Oleksandr Usyk. Now, let's make this clear. Oleksandr Usyk, right? When we're talking boxing and what you've done in the ring, not all these intangibles and people just love you because you come from a country where ain't nothing else popping off, right? Nothing else. You know, the national team ain't winning nothing in soccer ever, right? And boxing is big, and you're in a little small country, and you the bomb, you filling up that stuff. As soon as you leave, you get beat up, right? And you got all these fans. Doesn't mean that you can lowball every single other fighter. Now, when it comes to Oleksandr Usyk, and 20% for this guy, then boxing is totally, I wouldn't want to say effed up. It's effed up. Listen, Oleksandr Usyk is one of the few people that is boxing royalty. Now, he's unified, he's undisputed in the cruiserweight division. Let me make this clear. He has not fought at home ever. Total opposite of Anthony Joshua. He comes from the Ukraine. He doesn't even know how to get back home. Because he went to the WBSS tournament and beat every single body in their backyard. Starting with Marco Huck, who's a legend at the cruiserweight division. He beat him at Berlin. Marius Bridas is the #1 cruiserweight right now because he's gone, because Usyk is gone. He went to Latvia and beat him in his backyard. And he topped that off with the hard-hitting, undefeated, all of them was undefeated except Hook, what's his name? Marek Gassiev, trained by your boy, the same guy who trained Gennady Golovkin. I forget his name right now anyway, but it hit me. Bottom line is, and he whitewashed him, right? A big old heavy puncher whitewashed him in the finals. Won the finals, and then went over to Manchester to beat up Tony Bellew after Tony Bellew beat up David Haye twice. This is the undisputed guy, and he's beat Michael Hunter too. Got to win over him as well, and Joe Joyce, right? Let's cruiserweight. This is boxing royalty. It's the biggest thing you can do in boxing. All other boxers want to box at home in front of their crowds. This guy comes to your backyard and does that and beats you. There's nothing more awesome in boxing than that. When we look at all of these boxers and all these divas that don't do nothing and don't fight nothing and nobody, we ain't leaving here, we can't fight him, we are lowballing them. And this guy here is an anomaly. And there's no way that he should be somebody should be thinking about giving him less than 20% to fight. Period. If it's that way in boxing and everybody understands that, then you guys are admitting it's not a sport. Anthony Joshua was not worth 80 and him 20. And then to want him to go less. They're having problems right now. The promoter for Oleksandr Usyk, Alex Krasik, is saying, hey, listen, we don't have a deal yet. Eddie Hearn came out and said, hey, we gave them a deal that we think is fair, and we still don't have any answers. So what's fair? So what is it, 90-10 you're going to offer this guy? Listen. This is not a good look for Anthony Joshua if that's what he's trying to do. I mean, just give the man the damn 20% for like a purse bid and whatever. Because Eddie Hearn comes out and mentions some other names. He's mentioned Andy Ruiz Jr., maybe Dillian White. Then they always whisper Luis Ortiz in the end, and then they'll never mention him again because they know not to say his name twice because he'll be right at your doorstep. So bottom line here is it'll probably be Andy Ruiz Jr. again because he's the easiest one. He's the easiest one in the ring, right? They think at least. And he's definitely the easiest one to negotiate with. Because the last time they started negotiating with Dillian White, it didn't work out. And the last time that they said something that Luis Ortiz offered his service for about $2 or $3 million. And then they tried to get it to fight with Dillian White and Jarrell Miller. And after that, he asked for $7 million. They wanted to offer him $7 million because they offered Dillian White $7 million. He didn't take it, so they wanted to give it to Ortiz, but Ortiz didn't take it after he had offered his services already for half of that. After they couldn't get Dillian White and Jarrell Miller was doped, then he wanted 10, and they didn't want to give it to him. Okay, so that's what happened there. There's no way that Luis Ortiz wouldn't fight, so they don't really want to fight Ortiz. So let's see what happens there. Sometimes we talk about these sports and the marketability of the fighters and who's this and that, but at the end of the day, it's your accomplishments. In the cruiserweight division, Oleksandr Usyk is going down as a super duper legend, one of the best ever for what he accomplished there, right? It's not fair in sports. A lot of times, we can go to tennis. Let me tell you something. Serena Williams is going the GOAT, or one of them. All that Margaret Court. Margaret Court was awesome, but there was only 15 people playing at the time, so she doesn't really count. Steffi Graf is the one, right? Serena got more Grand Slams than even Steffi Graf. Okay, the best ever. Right, but Maria Sharapova had more sponsorship money than Serena Williams. Sharapova lost to Serena Williams 17 straight consecutive times. Wasn't nowhere near Serena Williams, but she earned more money. Sponsorship at least, not prize money, obviously. But sponsorship. Sponsors would have the loser, right, more than the winner in Serena Williams. That's just how the world works. It's not the right way. It should be supposed to be spending another way instead of that way. That's ridiculous. Right? She shouldn't be earning no damn more money than Serena Williams. Same thing's going on here. Anthony Joshua is all that, and he's good. But nobody in boxing should negotiate with a royalty, somebody like Oleksandr Usyk, and be trying to offer him less than 20%. You're not worth more than him. You wouldn't even think, none of you would think of doing what Oleksandr Usyk has just done in that cruiserweight division. Oh, he don't look that good at heavyweight. So what? He ain't that big. So who cares what he does at heavyweight? Somebody do what he did at any weight. Go and be undisputed and go directly to their backyard. He knocks on your door, walks through your house, and goes into your yard and calls you out in front of your family and beats you there. And your family be after the fight. Yeah, man, he won the damn fight. Yo, sorry, Dad. Sorry, Uncle. You got beat by this dude. Hey, you want to have something to eat? And then they become friends. This is what he does. He does that the whole time. There's no one else in boxing that does that. The only other one that I can think of is a guy named Julius Indungo, guys, who we try to forget because Terrence Crawford beat him with a body blow to become undisputed. But we forget what he did to get there. He went to Russia to beat Troyanowski, who was undefeated, who they were about to say that Terrence Crawford didn't want to fight. He knocked his ass out in 1 or 2 rounds, right? Got that title. Then he went over there to Scotland somewhere and beat up Mr. Burns, Ricky Burns. Got that title. And he did not rest on his laurels. He said, I'm going to Nebraska. Going to Nebraska to take the title from Crawford. It didn't work out for him. But he tried it, and I will never, ever forget Julius Ndungo. Because if I'm going to watch all these guys and watch all this stuff and hear all these negotiations and come on here and talk to y'all about people who don't want to do this and don't want to do that the whole time, then damn it, the ones who do it will always be remembered. You see what I'm saying? Because those are the ones who are doing something incredible. And Oleksandr Usyk, and I'll repeat, is boxing royalty. So if they're lowballing him, then you're going to have to look at your boys Eddie Hearn and your boy Anthony Joshua sideways. And if you guys are all on Instagram and all that stuff, somebody holler at that boy and tell him don't lowball this guy here. This guy is royalty. Make sure that's clear. Anyway, I got hoops to watch. So I'll be hollering at y'all. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.